Hello girls and guys, welcome back to the channel. So we are back with the turbocharged GT86. It is in for the diff bushes 1 and diff bush 2. We're also going to be checking the alignment again and just making sure everything's all good after doing all the suspension. We have diff oil for it now, which is actually a bit of a bonus. So from what I can see, it's going to be drive shafts out. We're going to have to take the diff out because we won't be able to remove the bushes nicely. I'm going to try and see if I can disconnect the prop shaft, lower the diff ever so slightly to see if I can get anything in there to remove it. Might have to remove the roll bar, maybe not. Might even have to take the exhaust down, I don't really know. Like I said, I've never done these before. So this is all going to be a bit of a learning curve today. So, in the nicest way, let's get moving. And it's a 32mm hub nut for the drive shaft. Whip them out, and then we're going to gain access and get the shafts out, and we're going to drain the diff oil. Right, so we've drained the diff oil. That was, well, I've undone this one just to give it some vacuum to drain out, and that Allen key was in my mess of stuff. Let's knock everything over. 10mm Allen key for the fill and drain. Then I've removed the 17 here and the 17 here, whip the shafts out, and because I don't want to damage any seals or anything, I'm going to take the shafts out with the diff. So I removed this section of exhaust, and that should just slide out nicely. I've probably got to take it out to get the diff out in a good way. Again, just 17s and a V-band. Gonna need some paste, and then my next trick is to remove the 4 bolts to hold prop shaft to diff. Now you've got to mark these up. This one's already been lined up so we know where everything goes. We want to keep it exactly as it come off. Sorry, I've not got that in focus. So yeah, mark them up, make sure they come off as they go on, just to keep everything balanced and in check. And once we've done that, we will be taking the diff down. The exhaust, just 1 bracket here, 1 clamp, and 2 17s. Other than that, so far so good. Okay, exhaust is down. Decided to take it from there because it was just easier. Now, although we do have marks, I've just made my own one. So now we've got 4 14mm nuts and bolts to remove, and then prop shaft off, and then it's diff out. I mean, credit to Fensport, who have done majority of the work on this car. Everything so far that we've come across is all nice and neat, all the bolts pointing the right way. Joe Wynn is just one of them pleasing cars to work on. This is a pleasing car to work on. Cool, so 3 17mm. Diff is supported nicely, then it is this one and the other one. I'm not sure what size that is, let me find out. So the big bad boys were 19s, now the diff is just a rocking on this, so I've got my hand to support it. We're going to lower it down, get it to the floor, and start on the bush. So far, really happy with what's going on here. And we have got to the bushes. We need to really keep an eye on what we need to do here. So from what I see, this one sits flat. And this one, I'm not sure if that one sits, no, that one's recessed ever so slightly, but is flush on this side and recessed on that side. This one protrudes quite a bit, but is flush on this side. So shouldn't be too difficult. I don't know, let's find out. I'm gonna get the bush pulling tool and we're gonna whip these out. One way that I would do it if I didn't have a bush pulling tool is to basically cut all of this away, use a drill or something like that, and then put the air saw through, cut a slit into the metal, if I could actually film what I'm doing here. Yeah, so cut it all out, put a slit in the metal, and then pull it out, and then tap the new one in. Same for this side, but that is a bit of a longer option. We do have a bush pulling tool, so we're gonna do it that way, just to save some time and save the customer some money. So even when you buy all the gear, it can still not go to plan. So we've got the air chisel, another chisel, a saw, a hammer, and a drill for a very big drill bit. And 1 bush has come out. So unfortunately, the cups that these are, the bush is bigger than the cup. Example A, biggest cup just sits a little bit wrong. So it'll end up going through the middle of it and not catching it. And if I do it at an angle, it's gonna go wrong. So I opted for removing it, put a little slit in the middle of it just to weaken it down with the air saw, drilled out the center and then beat it up with a hammer basically to get it middle out. Put a little slit in, not enough to go through into the subframe, just enough to weaken it. Air chisel down the side, bish bash, give it a couple of love taps with a hammer, out it come. So that's one. For the next trick, we're going to clean, we've made a few little burrs, just get the little die grinder, just clean all this up, make it as silky and smooth as we can, and get that one fitted. I'm gonna complete one fully, then move on to side two. And I did jinx myself earlier in the video by going, this is going okay. Yeah, rule to that, never say it. It's not going fully to plan. This one is in, and it was a lot more of a struggle than I intended. Now I've got one more to do. Yeah, I'm not even gonna get into it. So the cups didn't work, so I had to use an old wheel bearing, 2 of them, 2 bars, and a threaded bar to slowly ease it in. No matter how clean it was inside there and everything like that, it was still a struggle. But the problem is, I put the bush that way. This time round, I'm going this way because I had to there was a little lip on the inside, if you remember, and it sat just below there, comparing it to the other video. So I got it square and I got it in the right position, but my God, did it take a lot of time. There's me thinking this one was gonna be not that bad, but I did jinx myself earlier in the video. So on to side two. That was not pleasant. As I just found out, these are fluid-filled bushes. My face right now, I do you know what, I can't tell what it's like, but I feel like I'm covered. I'm covered in some sort of oil, bush oil. There's a lot of jokes to be made there, people, but does not taste nice. Yeah, so that is fluid filled. Gonna be even more fun to get that in. Okay, all the bush juice is out. These have been in the freezer since it was last here. So they are frozen, one would say. So now I'm gonna try and drop it. That's exactly what I'm gonna do. Make sure there's no damage. Give that another clean out. Hold on, quick wipe around, nice and professional. So Subaru stamp goes at the bottom. I'm gonna line it up. I'm gonna use some tools to get that in. And obviously I need my hands for this. I've just noticed there's a mistake. So looking at the bush, seeing I've got that, this comes out because that is the same size as that. Well, I feel stupid, but at least I noticed before I tried to fit it, which is a plus side. So when this come out, I must have taken it out in 2 halves, which is 1 and 2. Which makes sense because it's fluid filled. Where's the fluid gonna stay? It's gotta stay all as 1. So that is all 1 bush. So I am not done yet. I need to break that out. And I even cleaned it all up and everything, but you know, well, it's not a mistake. I'm just not ready to go yet. Now I've got to take that anti-seize out, so I'm gonna be shimmery and shiny when I'm done. So now let's get that bit out. So here's the ingenious device. It is slowly pulling the bush in, nice. And away we go. Now it needs to stick out a certain amount. I've got it measured. I just need to check the measurement in a minute. So there we have it. This one is in, measured to the right amount. That is nice there. I'm happy. So now it's time to refit the diff, get it all back together, and remind myself never to do something like this again. What we ended up using was an M12 threaded bar, and out of a press kit that I got, it was just these 2. Fed it through, wound it through. If I would have done the first bush from this side, I wouldn't have had the issue that I had because we had the bush that was kind of trying to pull. So we had to keep stopping and moving back and sorting it all out. So now the diff is over there. Load it up onto the transmission jack, slot it in, and hopefully have a very happy customer shortly. Okay, got 1 bolt in there. Slid this one in here, and then hopefully we're gonna see perfect line. Oh no, we are lined up there. There you go, lovely. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They are all in. I left everything loose. Like another tip is get all the bolts in loose before you send them home. Get them all in a good few turns, make sure they're home, they're seated, then you can smash them home. Everything isn't done up to its final torque setting. I need to go and look them up on Haynes, but once I do that, I'll relay what torque settings they are. For now, I'm happy. We're just gonna put the prop shaft in and then slide the shafts in and then take it for a road test. Also got to check the heights as well, because obviously we had put coilovers on this. And of course, put the exhaust back on. I mean, all these things, you know where I'm going with this. So we are going to keep cracking on. I am so much happier, as you can tell in my voice, that this is nearly done. So gearbox oil is in. Just double check that's tight when you're doing it. It takes around 1.2 litres. We just put just over, but you'll know when you've got the right amount because it will slowly dribble out and make a small mess on your floor there. But other than that, it is now gearbox on. The lower arms and control arms are on. Just need to double check and paint mark and get them all good. And we are nearly there. Right, all marked up. This is starting to look a little bit silly with the amount of marks on that bolt, but we know where they are. Fill and drain both marked. Now, this has become a little bit exhausting, but let's put the exhaust on. Okay, we are really enjoying this now. Exhaust is on, everything's all bolted up, plenty of lube on the bushes, and slide the rubbers on. Connected at the front. Now we've got to put the round things on and see what it's saying. Wheels are on and it is coming down to the ground. Got to torque the wheels up. We've been over and double checked everything that we've touched that is nice and tight. So now torque the wheels up, take it on a road test, happy days. Then get it back, do some measurements, check the heights, check the geo, and call the customer and tell him to come collect. So little road test around the car park, no initial noises, so we're gonna go on the road and see what it's like. After a nice road test, this one is done.